What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about everything that's going on in Classic, everything that we have coming, everything that we have currently, and if this really is what everyone wanted. For me, personally, I'm really excited for a few things coming, right? I never got to experience the raiding scene in MoP. I'm going to be trying that out. TBC is my favorite expansion. We have that coming at the end of the year, and then obviously we have hints at something bigger coming in the near future, within a year or two maybe. You know, like a Classic Plus, something like that. We have Season of Discovery going on in its final chapter. We're going to get into that a little bit. And also, I want to clarify some things from my last video. The last video I put out about SOD ending, but Classic being in a great place was pretty controversial, right? A lot of people kind of got really upset in the comments, telling me I have no clue what's happening, SOD isn't ending, all of this stuff. So I want to elaborate a little bit on what I was talking about in that video. And by no means am I saying SOD is dead, it's over right now. All I said was SOD was ending, right? But we'll get into that in the video. So we're going to do another walk and talk today. Right now we are in the lower city in Shatrath, and we're going to walk around, and depending on how long this video takes, we'll move to some other zones in TBC, because I am just really anticipating the launch of TBC again. I'm excited for it, and this is where I want to do the walk and talk. So without further ado, let's dive in. So here we are in the lower city walking around. Anyway, I want to talk first about what I was talking about in my last video. I want to address that because some people got really upset, and the point of the video wasn't to upset anybody. All I was talking about was the fact that SOD is in its final chapter, and I took those words directly from the marketing email for Phase 8 that Blizzard sent out, you know, trying to get people to come back and play that last phase with the Scarlet Enclave and everything. They said, come experience Season of Discovery's final chapter. So that is where I'm getting the verdict of SOD being at its end, being the ending of SOD. SOD is not dead. If you are still enjoying SOD, that's great, right? The whole point of our sub to this game is to play any version that we want, and that's really what this video is about at this point. I wanted to talk about the fact that we really did get everything we wanted here. Blizzard heard us over the years and gave us everything, right? If we go back like 6-7 years, they were telling us we didn't even want Classic WoW, and now look how big Classic WoW actually is. Let's talk about the fact that you can literally play almost any version of Classic that you want at this point, right? You have Classic Era. If you want to go play on there and do G-Bids or whatever you want to do, GDKPs, you have that. We have Classic Hardcore has become an official game mode supported by Blizzard, where you have hardcore servers, where you know everyone on that server has not died, right? And if they did, they can't cheat it and turn off the add-on and keep playing the character and say they never died. So that's a thing. We have Progressive Classic that's now currently in Cataclysm and moving into Mists of Pandaria. So we have that version that we can play. We have Season of Discovery, which is like a Classic Plus beta, an experimental version set in the vanilla universe, which has been, like I said in my last video, some of the most fun that I've ever had in Classic WoW. I think Season of Discovery has been phenomenal. There's been a little bit of controversy surrounding the last phase and the Scarlet Enclave's difficulty level, but that's okay, right? This whole thing is trial and error, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. There's a lot going on. And then we got Anniversary, right? At Warcraft Direct last year, they announced Anniversary. Anniversary launched, and we got fresh Classic servers. We got a fresh Hardcore server with the promise of moving into the Burning Crusade, at least for the regular fresh server, not the Hardcore server. As of right now, we don't know. Things could change, right? But we know that Anniversary is moving in that direction. It's moving into the Burning Crusade Classic, and that personally, for me, is what I'm the most excited for, because the Burning Crusade is my favorite expansion. I can play it over and over again as long as there's a couple of years in between, and I'll enjoy it. It just brings me back to a time where I really just, I was a lot younger then. And I really, that's when I really fell in love with WoW. I played all through vanilla, but the Burning Crusade is where I really started to see what the game had to offer, and I enjoyed it. Now, that, again, that's going to be controversial. Everyone has their own opinion of which version of WoW is the best, and that's the best part about what we're getting right now, and that's everything. Everyone who enjoys a specific version of WoW is slowly getting their option, right, to enjoy that specific version. They haven't confirmed it yet, but maybe we're getting Burning Crusade era servers. at the end of this next Burning Crusade. Maybe it's moving to Wrath, and then maybe we're getting Wrath era servers. So if you enjoy that trilogy, the beginning, you'll have a place to play always, right? Like, that could be the beauty of this, is that everyone has a home. And if they move in the direction that they've been moving, where pretty much no matter what version you play, you're going to have like 1 or 2 servers where it's condensed enough and there's a small enough amount of servers where no matter where you want to play, it will feel alive, and there will be things to do. And I think that is kind of the direction that Blizzard is moving in, just judging by how everything has been going. And I think it's great. Really, I do. I think it's fantastic to give everyone their version of WoW that they want to experience, right? Because WoW's been around for so long at this point. The community surrounding World of Warcraft is the most passionate community on the internet, like literally. Then that's good and bad, right? That means if I make a video that doesn't sit well with this half of the community, they're going to let me know in the comments, and that's the entire purpose of this. I don't take any of it personal. I may not agree with some things that people say, and people may not agree with things that I say, but that's okay. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and the whole point of this channel, the reason I started this channel, is because I'm passionate about this game, just like so many of you, right? Everyone is extremely passionate. I can't stress that enough, that World of Warcraft, I've been in a lot of gaming communities over the years, and World of Warcraft, especially the classic community, is the most passionate gaming community on the internet, and I swear that that has to be true. Like, just a group of super passionate people who all love this game or a specific version of this game and really, really want to drive home their opinions about what's happening and all of this. But let's go back and talk about Season of Discovery for a little bit, because, again, I want to clarify what the last video was about. I made a video called SOD is Ending, but Classic WoW's Future Looks Great. And a lot of people kind of misconceived the purpose of this video. Basically, it was supposed to be kind of like a love letter to SOD, saying, like, I've loved it. I think it's the most fun that I've ever had in World of Warcraft Classic. I think it's been some of the best times that I've ever had have been in SOD. I'm kind of sad to see it be in its final state and be in its ending phase. But I think the future of Classic looks great because we have all of these options currently, and then more options coming in the future, like the people who enjoy the progressive version of Classic, the people who have been on Cataclysm this whole time, but whether you like it or not, there's people who really enjoy it, and that's moving into MOP, and then probably moving into WoD, you know, and that cycle will continue, and whether you agree with that or not, there are people out there that are enjoying that. But lately, in this community, we've seen like I guess it's kind of like an implosion, right? Where there's so many versions of Classic that we're at a point where people aren't agreeing anymore, and it's really fragmenting the community. You have your MOP enjoyers here, you have your Kata enjoyers here, you have your Wrath enjoyers here. People are saying, like, this is the best version. It stops being Classic here, it stops being Classic here, it stops being Classic here. At the end of the day, it stops being Classic after Vanilla, right? Maybe the titling is wrong, and Blizzard should start calling it, like, you know, Mist of Pandaria Reforged, Mist of Pandaria Remastered, Warlords of Draenor Remastered, Warlords of Draenor Reforged, because Classic is Classic. Classic is Vanilla, you know, and some people will say Classic is TBC, Classic is Wrath, Classic is the whole trilogy, the original trilogy. It's different for everybody, is my point. And that is starting to cause a rift. Let's move to a different zone here, because we're kind of walking down into Auchindown. We'll go up to, let's go up to Zangar Marsh. You know, Classic could be... Classic to me is different from Classic to you, is basically what I'm trying to get at. Classic is going to be different for everybody. So maybe calling it Classic at this point is not really working. Like, maybe the titling is just wrong. Maybe we need to just call it Remastered or Reforged. But either way, that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is I wanted to kind of bring everyone back down to earth a little bit and kind of let everyone realize that all of this stuff going on in the Classic universe is a good thing, right? The fact that Blizzard is expanding Classic into all these different directions means that Classic is really successful. And despite being told that we didn't even, you know, we didn't really know what we wanted, we didn't want Classic back, you know, 7 or 8 years ago at this point, we did know what we wanted, and that's because of you guys, right? The passionate community. the mop enjoyers, the classic kata enjoyers, the wrath enjoyers, the TBC enjoyers, the vanilla enjoyers. And if you guys can't realize what's happening, the sod enjoyers, like, you're the reason we are going to get a Classic Plus in the future, or a WoW 2, whatever it's going to be. It's because of us. It's because of the people who really, really love sod, and sat there and tested all of these new systems. Like, I've put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into Season of Discovery. I have 5 level 60s. The only phase I took a break for was the AQ phase, and I came back and was still loving it. We're the reason that we're going to get something bigger in the future, right? So if you look at all of this for the bigger picture, as much as people are like at each other's throats about which version is better, this version is better, my version is better, your version sucks, your version's not classic, my version's classic, your version has GDKPs, my version doesn't have GDKPs. Listen, it is all the same at the end of the day, right? People playing these games and enjoying them are the reason Blizzard keeps doing it. And, you know, at the start of SOD, the classic dev team was really, really small. As we know, they've been expanding, they've been growing. As you can see, they've done amazing things with the last few phases of SOD, right? New dungeons like Karazhan Crypts, new raids, Scarlet Enclave. As controversial as the difficulty level of it is, the raid itself was designed sick. It was a sick raid. It was designed so well. There's actual mechanics to do. Difficulty aside, it is awesome content, right? And it's really good to see. It shows that Classic is moving in a great direction, right? Like, it shows that Classic is so successful that the dev team behind it is expanding, and we're getting more in the Classic universe, which ultimately may lead to a WoW 2 or a Classic Plus, whatever it's going to be. I think it's all good stuff, and I think everyone needs to kind of chill out, man, and just chill out. Stop attacking each other for playing a specific version. Just realize that, you know, the best part about playing this game is you pay one sub. One sub, and you're allowed to play every single version of this game. Whether it's the best version or the worst version, you have an option. You can play whatever version you want. And that is fantastic. There is no other MMO on the market where you pay one sub and have access to like 7 different versions of the game, plus the modern game. Okay? It's really good the way we have it. I think we're a little spoiled, to be honest, but it's really, really good. And I want everyone to kind of take a step back and just realize that you're the reason we're getting all of this. You know, what I was talking about before with like the fragmentation of the community, there's so many versions of Classic. It's a bad thing and it's a good thing. It's a bad thing because it creates little cliques and groups of people that only want MOP and that only want Wrath and that only want Vanilla and that only want TBC. But it's showing now that there's enough people that only want this thing to warrant a specific version for that thing, which is a great thing, right? I think that is a plus. And instead of us all kind of being at each other's throats about it, which I don't do, I personally respect every version of this game and people who play any version. It's all preference, right? At the end of the day, we're here to have fun. And if you're not having fun, why are you playing this video game, right? Like, that is, you know, I think sometimes Classic players tend to forget that this is a game. You know, we're supposed to be having fun. So why try and force people to play your version of the game that you think is fun if they don't think it's fun and they enjoy this version and that version is widely available, right? I think that everyone needs to just realize that we're the reason we're getting all this stuff. Blizzard is hearing us, whether it takes long or not. Sometimes I struggle with the way that Blizzard communicates. They kind of go radio silence for quite a long time, and in a game where, you know, your time really, really matters. You're investing a lot of time into this game. Sometimes that radio silence can be a bit bothersome, right? Like with Season of Discovery, everyone completely misconceived the purpose of my last video. The reason I said that SOD was kind of ending for me is because it was bittersweet. Like I said, it was the most fun I've had in Classic in a long time. I've put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. In the beginning, I ran a guild. We were running dueling tournaments in the Gurubashi Arena at level 25. We did so many events. It was fun. And the reason why I'm struggling in this last phase to enjoy Season of Discovery, despite the awesome content they added, is because of my own personal preference. I have a problem enjoying something when I know it's coming to an end. And I know that sounds insane, but that's literally how I think. Whereas if Blizzard came out tomorrow and sent an email saying, well, you know what, we are going to continue SOD. It was super successful. We're going to continue it. It's, currently basically a beta for Classic Plus. We're going to test more features or whatever. I'd be a little bit more into it just because I know what's coming. But when I read the email saying, come experience the final chapter of Season of Discovery, and we have MOP around the corner, and we know that they have to put some dev time into releasing that, it kind of makes it hard for me to warrant putting hundreds more hours into Season of Discovery when I know it's at least on its last leg. It's in its final stages. As good as it is. It is really, really good. And I encourage anyone out there to go try it if you want to experience this new content. It's my own personal thing where when I know something is ending, I struggle to go and enjoy it because I feel like I enjoy the progression, right? At the end of 2019, we knew we were getting TBC. So that gave me the urge to level characters, prepare my professions, get ready for that TBC launch. By the time TBC was ending, we knew we were getting Wrath. So I was getting ready for that, leveling the characters that I wanted for that. It was all kind of like, at the end of the day, I guess I play WoW in a full enjoyment mode, but also a prep mode for the next thing. So right now on Anniversary, I'm prepping for TBC. I'm prepping my characters for that. On Cataclysm, I'm prepping my characters that I want to play in MOP. It feels good to know that it's not ending. I know eventually one day it will have to come to an end, right? And that's something we have to think about. What is the right way to do this? Does it eventually end? Does all of Classic end and we just get WoW 2 or Classic Plus? Do they consolidate everything? Or do we get Classic Plus or WoW 2 and still have the progressive server heading into WoD and Legion and all of that stuff? Do we still have Era vanilla servers, TBC, Wrath servers? At the end of the day, I think that the numbers are showing that we can. We can kind of have everything that we want in Classic because of the player base, because we're so passionate, because we're so vocal about all this stuff. And there's enough of us that enjoy every version, every step of this game, that it warrants Blizzard putting out all of these versions. I was completely against all of these versions at first, right? I was like, we don't need 7 versions of Classic. But after looking at it, it's kind of, steadied out. And every version of Classic is very much alive. The lowest populated version of the game is Classic Era. And those are, people who copied their 2019 characters, maybe people who want to level new characters on there. The only real difference there is there's no dual spec, and they don't, GDKPs are not banned. If they banned GDKPs on Era, I think we would see that population dwindle to pretty much nothing. I think that's what people play on there for at this point. But what I'm trying to say is this is all a good thing, right? We all got everything we wanted in Classic, and we're going to continue to get more and more as the years go on, right? We're waiting for a Classic Plus, most of us. Some of us, the ones who aren't, and just want to play through the original trilogy, we have that too. We have Anniversary going on right now, which I've been leveling on just kind of casually, and I've been blown away by how populated it actually is. There's World PvP still going on. Everyone is still running the low-level dungeons, despite the fact that there's boosts everywhere. It's kind of crazy. And it really proved me wrong. I thought Anniversary, when I logged on and made this character, I thought Anniversary was going to be completely just a dead boost mafia, server. It's not. It's not at all. And it's pretty alive, and that's the oldest version of the game you can currently play right now, aside from Classic Era. Clearly, there's a market for it, right? Everyone's ranking to 14. After everyone gets their 14, which probably was yesterday, most people, and then the stragglers will get it next week and the week after, might see a pretty big decline in the population, people logging off, waiting for the Burning Crusade, especially when AQ comes out. Usually it loses quite a bit of players at that point, but then when Nax comes and when TBC pre-patch hits, I think you're going to see the biggest influx of players ever on Anniversary. I think that there's a lot of people who want the Burning Crusade, maybe a lot of people who aren't even playing until the Burning Crusade pre-patch comes out. And I think they're waiting to see if there's going to be the Dark Portal pass again, where they can just boost to 58 and start there. We haven't really gotten any clarity on that. We don't know if that's coming. But either way, I think, you know, every version of this game, if you log on to Doomhell, like fresh hardcore, there's people everywhere. If you log on to Cataclysm, there's raids going every 2 minutes. If you log on to Season of Discovery, the Pug scene, there's tons and tons of raids going, Naxes all day, all night long. There's a lot going on in Classic, and I'm starting to just kind of shift the way that I thought about all these versions, because clearly I'm seeing that we could have all these versions of Classic, and they're all very much alive. I guess we did want this. We wanted exactly what we said. And all these versions warrant, you know, the player base warrants having all of these versions. So I don't know if Blizzard's ever going to stop doing this. I don't think they have a reason to, right? Like, why would they stop doing this when everyone is clearly enjoying all this stuff and playing? I don't see a reason to. The only thing that I would change is if having all of these versions takes away from the next experience, like a Classic Plus or a WoW 2, then I would say, can all these versions give us Classic Plus, give us WoW 2? Because like I said in the last video, I'm someone who wants a more permanent Classic, something that I could really dive into and put hundreds and hundreds of hours into the next couple of years, all my game time put into that, and know that it's not ending, right? Know that we have 5, 6, 7, 8+ years of development coming to that version of the game. I think that in itself would suck so many more people into it. I think Blizzard would then also reach a player base outside of the regular Classic WoW player base. I think they would reach the MMO player base. I think they would reach the RPG player base, the old Warcraft player base. People who don't touch this now, I think those people would be interested in something like that. And like, let's be real, Classic Plus or a WoW 2 would break the internet, right? Arguably the most popular MMO of all time. And if they did something massive like that, they would reach an incredible audience. Especially nowadays with the way the internet works and streamers and streamer marketing and shit like that, like it would be massive. So the only way that I would be okay with them getting rid of all these versions of Classic is if it was like, it's either we do all these versions of Classic or we do a Classic Plus or WoW 2 or whatever. We can't have both. Then I would choose Classic Plus or WoW 2. But I don't think that that's the case. I think there's a reason the dev team is expanding. The Classic team is expanding to kind of keep up with the demand of Classic content. People want all of this stuff. And like I said, it gives you an opportunity to try something new, right? Burning Crusade is my favorite expansion. I played from vanilla all the way through. The whole time WoW's been out, I've played every expansion. I've played them in different ways, like MoP back in the day. I only did Arena. I never stepped foot in Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, any of that stuff. So this time around, I kind of am excited to try that stuff, right? I don't know how long MoP will hold my attention, but I'm excited to dive into these raids and try it. You know, people say that Throne of Thunder is one of the best raids ever created in WoW. So I'm excited to see why that is, right? You know, back in the day, I did all this stuff, but a lot of the expansions past Wrath of the Lich King, I really was just a PvPer. I didn't do much raiding. I raided in original Wrath, and then after that, I strictly was doing like Arena and PvP stuff. I couldn't really get into the raiding scene. I didn't like have the time to dedicate to that. But, you know, this time around in Classic, I've been way more into the raiding scene, the PvE scene, and it really has made me appreciate, you know, things in a different way. So I'm excited for MoP. I'm excited to see what happens after Season of Discovery. I would love for Blizzard to give us some communication on if there's going to be more phases in SOD, if there's not, if those characters are going to be allowed to transfer over to like TBC and get rid of the runes and just give us a boosted set of gear and use those characters in TBC Anniversary. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would like some clarification on it, right? Clarification on these things helps everyone, because the speculation and the unknown, I think, is what causes such a big rift between all these different communities in Classic. The fact that, like, this person is arguing for this to happen, this person is arguing for this to happen, neither one of them know really what's going to happen, including me. So it creates like this weird debate on like, I think this should happen, I think this should happen. Really, at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. We have some say in it. We have some control by being vocal and talking about it and you know, stressing what we want and what we want to see. And if the demand is there and if the demand is high enough, Blizzard usually delivers on it, right? The demand for a fresh going into Warcraft Direct last year was so incredibly high that Blizzard gave a fresh, and it's been very popular, arguably the most popular version of Classic somehow since it came out last November. And that's because people were wanting it. People were talking about it, saying, I want a fresh, we want a fresh. And they got it. They got a fresh, and clearly they weren't wrong. It's been very popular. People want TBC again. What are we getting at the end of this year, or maybe the beginning of next year? TBC. They haven't stated that that's moving to Wrath, but I'm sure if the demand is high enough, we'll get it. And that was the purpose of this video, to show you guys that instead of all being at each other's throats about the version of WoW you love and think is the right version, you got to give yourselves a pat on the back and realize that you're the reason we get all this stuff. You know, not by attacking other people's versions of the game. I don't condone that at all. I think that that's crazy. I think everyone should just be content with what they enjoy and let other people enjoy what they enjoy. Because at the end of the day, we're paying this sub to Blizzard to play these versions of the game to have fun. So everyone is entitled to play their version of the game that they like the best. And that playing the version of the game that you like the best and enjoying it and being vocal about it is a good thing. But you know, slandering someone for playing a specific version or not playing a specific version, I think is a bad thing. I think we need to stay away from that and just realize that everyone, even the people playing the version you don't like, is doing Classic justice, because it's keeping the game alive, it's enabling the dev team to grow, and it's enabling us to get more of this in the future. I am fully confident at this point that one day, hopefully within the next couple of years, we get a WoW 2 or a Classic Plus or whatever it is that's going to just knock the socks off the internet. It's going to be big. It's going to be the biggest thing that's happened in a long time. And I am fully confident that we will get that. Now, what version of WoW will it mirror the most? That's up in the air. That's to be decided, right? They learned a lot of good and bad from Season of Discovery. So Season of Discovery is so much more important than most people realize. It's not just some gimmick game mode. It's not just some sped up seasonal gimmick. The purpose of it, and Blizzard literally said it, was to learn what works and what doesn't for something in the future. So Season of Discovery is a lot more important than people know. So people playing it have been very important in the development of the future of Classic, you know, going forward. Like without us, without the people that played it the whole way through and gave their feedback, made the videos, talked about this, talked to the community, gave the community a way to talk to the devs, it's been very important, because Blizzard said that they're listening and they are testing, right? We had some really, really good things and some really, really bad things, like incursions. That was the worst thing that ever came to Season of Discovery, and I can almost guarantee you Blizzard will not be putting something like that in Classic Plus or WoW 2. They're going to come up with something new and try that. But it's just important to know that we all serve a purpose in every version of this game, and we are the reason that we're getting all of this content. We are the reason that Classic is growing and living on. Classic is not dying. If you look at the numbers, Classic is growing. I see people playing Classic, like this is the first time they're booting up WoW in their entire lifetime, and they're coming into Classic to start and not Modern, not Retail, which is crazy to me. Like every time I see one of these new players out in the world, no matter what version it is that I'm playing, Cataclysm or Season of Discovery or Anniversary, they're like, oh, this is my first time playing WoW. I'm really loving it. It blows my mind, because the game has been out for 20 years. This is the first time someone's playing it. You know, maybe they're younger and they weren't able to play back then, and you know, let's say they're like 20 now and they got their first gaming PC. That would explain a lot of it as well. But it's just crazy to see that there's still new people coming into Classic WoW, which leads me back to what I was saying at the beginning. Maybe Classic WoW is like the wrong thing to be calling it at this point. Maybe we should just be calling it Reforged or Remastered. Maybe not Reforged just because of, you know, the stigma behind what happened with Warcraft 3 Reforged, but some kind of clever name. Because it's not, to someone who's playing Anniversary right now for the first time in their entire life, it's not Classic. It's just a different version of WoW, right? It's Classic to me because I played the original back in 2004, 2005. But either way, this rant is getting a little out of hand. I just wanted to make this video and try and bring everyone back down to earth a little bit and realize that we're all doing a service here by playing these games, being vocal about the things that we like and that we don't like, as long as it's in a respectful way. And I think that everyone deserves to give themselves a pat on the back, including the Classic devs, They have done a phenomenal job. They were a very small team. They pulled off having 7 versions of this game out that all have a healthy player base. Like, you got to give them some credit, whether you like what they do or not. These devs are top tier, and they're doing it right, and they're listening to the player base, and they listen to the content creators, and, you know, they really do care about this game, despite what people think. If they didn't care about this game, we wouldn't have 7 different versions of it. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to just realize that. But anyway, this video is getting way too long, so comment down below, agree with me or disagree with me. I want to know what you think. Like the video, please. Jump over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance. We stream Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We've been having some really good streams. We're leveling over an anniversary, doing world PvP. Just, you know, I've been doing song request streams where we're just cranking tunes on there, having a good time. So head over to my Twitch, link in the description below. Subscribe to the channel if you love classic WoW. And that's all I've got for you guys today. So thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.